In a quaint town, there lived an old and wise teacher named Mr. Thompson. Known for his unconventional teaching methods, he often left a lasting impact on his students. One sunny morning, he walked into his classroom with a bag full of colorful balloons. His students, curious and excited, watched as he began to hand out the balloons. One to each student. "Today," Mr. Thompson said with a gentle smile, "we are going to do a special exercise. I want each of you to write your name on your balloon." The students eagerly took their balloons and markers, carefully writing their names in bold letters. Once everyone was done, Mr. Thompson collected the balloons and led the students to the neighboring hall, a large space filled with scattered chairs and desks. "Now," Mr. Thompson instructed, "I will spread all these balloons around the hall. You will have 5 minutes to find a balloon with your name on it. Ready, go." The hall erupted into chaos as the students began searching frantically for their balloons. They bumped into each other, moved chairs, and looked under desks, but no one managed to find their own balloon. The noise and confusion only grew as the seconds ticked by. After 5 minutes, Mr. Thompson blew his whistle to gather everyone's attention. The students, exhausted and frustrated, stood around him, some with empty hands and others holding balloons that didn't belong to them. "Now," Mr. Thompson continued, "let's try something different. Pick up any balloon you find and give it to the person whose name is written on it." The students exchanged puzzled looks but followed his instructions. Within minutes, every student was holding a balloon with their own name on it. The room that had been filled with chaos moments before was now filled with smiles and laughter. Mr. Thompson gathered the students and said, "This exercise is much like happiness. When you look for it only for yourself, it can be difficult to find. But when everyone is helping each other, it is much easier to achieve." The students nodded, understanding the valuable lesson their teacher had imparted. They realized that by helping each other, they could find joy and fulfillment more quickly and easily than by working alone. This lesson stayed with the students long after they left Mr. Thompson's class. They began to look out for one another, helping with homework, sharing lunch, and offering support when someone was feeling down. The sense of community grew stronger, and the students found that their own happiness increased as they made others happy. Years went by, and the students moved on to different schools and careers, but the lesson Mr. Thompson had taught them remained in their hearts. They carried the spirit of cooperation and kindness into their adult lives, always remembering that true happiness comes from helping others. One of the students, Sarah, became a teacher herself. She often thought of Mr. Thompson and the balloon exercise. Inspired by his wisdom, she decided to carry on his legacy. On the first day of the school year, she brought a bag of balloons to her classroom. "Today," Sarah told her students, "we're going to do a special exercise. I want each of you to write your name on a balloon." The students, curious and excited, followed her instructions. Sarah collected the balloons and spread them around the classroom. "Now," she said, "I will give you 5 minutes to find a balloon with your name on it. Ready, go." The students scrambled around the room, searching for their balloons. Just like in Mr. Thompson's class, they found it difficult to find their own balloons amidst the chaos. After 5 minutes, Sarah blew her whistle and gathered the students. "Now," she said, "pick up any balloon you find and give it to the person whose name is written on it." The students exchanged balloons, and within minutes, everyone had their own balloon. Sarah smiled, seeing the understanding and joy in her students' faces. This exercise, Sarah explained, is much like happiness. When we help each other, we can find it more easily. Remember, true happiness comes from making others happy. Sarah's classroom became known for its warm and supportive atmosphere. Her students excelled not only academically, but also in their personal lives. They carried the lessons of kindness and teamwork with them, making positive impacts wherever they went. Over the years, many of Sarah's students became teachers, doctors, engineers, and community leaders. They often thought back to the balloon exercise and the powerful message it conveyed. They taught their own children and students about the importance of helping others, creating a ripple effect of kindness and happiness. One of Sarah's students, Emily, became a community organizer. She remembered the lessons from the balloon exercise and decided to implement them in her work. Emily organized community events that encouraged cooperation and mutual support. At one of these events, Emily decided to recreate the balloon exercise. She gathered children and adults from the community and handed out balloons. Write your name on the balloon, Emily instructed. Just as Sarah and Mr. Thompson had done before, the students nodded, feeling the warmth of the lesson. They began to help each other, forming a close-knit community. Sarah was proud to see the spirit of cooperation and kindness flourish in her classroom, just as it had in Mr. Thompson's. Sarah often thought of Mr. Thompson and wished she could thank him for the impact he had on her life. One day, she decided to visit him at his home, where he had retired. When Sarah arrived, she found Mr. Thompson sitting in his garden, enjoying the afternoon sun. She approached him with a smile. "Mr. Thompson," she said, "I wanted to thank you for the lessons you taught us. Your balloon exercise had a profound impact on me, and I have passed it on to my own students." Mr. Thompson looked at her with pride. "I'm glad to hear that, Sarah. It means a lot to know that my teaching has continued to make a difference." They sat together, sharing stories and memories. Mr. Thompson was pleased to hear how his former students were thriving and spreading kindness in the world. He felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that his lessons had touched so many lives. As the sun set, Sarah said goodbye and thanked Mr. Thompson once again. She left his home with a heart full of gratitude, determined to continue spreading the lessons of kindness and cooperation. Sarah's classroom became known for its warm and supportive atmosphere. Her students excelled not only academically, but also in their personal lives. They carried the lessons of kindness and teamwork with them, making positive impacts wherever they went. Over the years, many of Sarah's students became teachers, doctors, engineers, and community leaders. They often thought back to the balloon exercise and the powerful message it conveyed. They taught their own children and students about the importance of helping others, creating a ripple effect of kindness and happiness. One of Sarah's students, Emily, became a community organizer. She remembered the lessons from the balloon exercise and decided to implement them in her work. Emily organized community events that encouraged cooperation and mutual support. At one of these events, Emily decided to recreate the balloon exercise. She gathered children and adults from the community and handed out balloons. "Write your name on the balloon," Emily instructed. Just as Sarah and Mr. Thompson had done before. Once everyone had written their names, Emily collected the balloons and spread them around the park. "You have 5 minutes to find the balloon with your name on it," she said. The participants eagerly searched for their balloons, but the park was large, and it was challenging to find their own amidst the crowd. After 5 minutes, Emily gathered everyone and said, "Now pick up any balloon you find and give it to the person whose name is written on it." Within minutes, everyone had their own balloon, and the park was filled with smiles and laughter. Emily explained the lesson about happiness and helping others. Just as she had learned from Sarah, the community members were deeply touched by the exercise and the message it conveyed. They began to look out for one another, helping with groceries, babysitting, and supporting each other in times of need. Emily's community thrived, and the spirit of cooperation and kindness spread throughout the town. People were happier, more connected, and willing to lend a helping hand. Years later, Emily received a letter from one of her childhood friends, Jacob. Jacob had moved away and had heard about the positive changes in their hometown. He wrote to Emily, expressing his admiration for her work and the impact it had on the community. "I remember the balloon exercise we did in school," Jacob wrote. "It left a lasting impression on me. I'm so proud of you for continuing to spread that message of kindness and cooperation." Emily was moved by Jacob's words. She felt a deep sense of fulfillment, knowing that the lessons she had learned from Sarah and Mr. Thompson were making a difference in the world. The ripple effect of kindness continued to spread, touching lives and communities far and wide. The simple exercise with balloons had grown into a powerful movement of cooperation and happiness. Back in the quaint town where it all began, Mr. Thompson, now well into his old age, often heard stories about the positive impact his teaching had on his former students. He felt a deep sense of pride and contentment, knowing that his unconventional methods had inspired so much goodness in the world. As he sat in his garden, enjoying the afternoon sun, he thought about the simple yet profound lesson he had taught with the balloons. He realized that happiness and fulfillment came from helping others and fostering a sense of community. Mr. Thompson's heart swelled with gratitude, knowing that his legacy of kindness and cooperation would continue to thrive long after he was gone. The lesson of the balloons had taken on a life of its own, spreading happiness and joy to countless people. In a way, Mr. Thompson's simple exercise had achieved something extraordinary. It had shown that even the smallest acts of kindness could create a ripple effect, touching lives and inspiring others to do the same. And so, the story of Mr. Thompson, Sarah, Emily, and all the students who learned the lesson of the balloons continued to be passed down through generations. The message was clear. True happiness comes from helping others and working together as a community. The balloon exercise became a cherished tradition in schools, communities, and families. It served as a reminder that in a world where everyone is helping each other, happiness is much easier to find. Thank you for watching and listening. Your support means a lot. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the future.